Hi, welcome to NSDE project launch video. NSDE supports launching or running of Nonstop applications on Nonstop from your own desktop. In this video, I will demonstrate how to configure a run launch, a TSMP server launch, and run them. In my NSDE instance, I have two projects that we will be using for demonstrations in this video. These projects are win underscore var args underscore c underscore grd and pathway underscore oasis underscore server. I have already built these projects. We can launch a run configuration wizard by selecting run icon from the toolbar and selecting run configurations under it. You can also right-click the Nonstop Project Explorer and select Run from the context menu and select Run Configurations under it. You can also select Run Configurations from the menu. This is the Run Configurations dialog. NSDE provides two launches, Nonstop Application and Nonstop TSMP Server. First, let's have a look at launching the Nonstop application. Double-click the Nonstop application entry from the list of launchers. This creates a new configuration named new underscore configuration. You can also select the Nonstop application entry and select new from the toolbar icon to create a new configuration. Give a name to the launch configuration, say demo. You have four tabs under this launch for customization: main, arguments, environment, and common tab. Let's look at the main tab now. Select the platform you want to launch, Guardian in my case. Please note that the launch does not automatically detect this from your deploy settings, so you need to set this yourself. Select the project you wish to launch. Select the Nonstop system where the executable to be run is located. Provide the location of the executable on the remote Nonstop system. If you have not deployed your project to a Nonstop system already, you can select the checkbox for local executable and provide the path to the local executable. A word of caution here. This transfers only the executable to the remote Nonstop system. It does not run any SQL compilations as is needed in a deploy. So it is not advisable to use this option for SQL-based executables. Instead, use the deploy project option. Let's move to the Arguments tab now. Enter the Run command options here. Options like CPU number of the CPU where this should run, or the name with which you wish to run this process, or something like that. Under the Program Arguments, enter the arguments that you wish to pass to the application being launched. Select Set Initial Volume Subvolume and provide the remote location if you wish to set a working directory for your program. The name here will change to Set Working Directory in case of an Oasis project launch. Now let's look at the Environment tab. You can set the environment variables, defines, assigns, and params either directly in the provided text box or by browsing to a remote file that contains these variables. These variables will be run in the tackle prompt or the OSS shell before running your application. Now, let's have a look at the Common tab. The Common tab page is provided by CDT. It defines general aspects of the launch configuration, including the storage location, console encoding, etc. Now that we have all the settings in place, let's run the application. You can see that the application has been executed with the output being shown in the console. After you create a run launch configuration and launched it, you can relaunch it in the future by selecting it from the pull-down menu of the Run icon in the toolbar. Now let's see how we can launch a TSMP server from NSDE. Create a new configuration for Nonstop TSMP server. Let's give it a name, say Demo TSMP. Select the TSMP server project. Provide the remote non-stop system name and login. Enter the remote non-stop executable path. If you have not deployed your project to the remote non-stop system, then select the local executable and provide the path to the local executable. Let's select the TSMP server tab. The path1 process name is a mandatory field, and the process must be started on non-stop system before this. The process name should be preceded with a dollar. You can either enter the process name directly or use the Browse button. The path1 process browser lists down all the path1 processes running on the host for selection. Enter the server class name. NSDEE uses this name to configure the server class on the selected path1 process. The server status radio button determines the status of the server. For server status new, NSDEE allows the user to configure all the server attributes, arguments, and environment. You can use server status as restart when the executable is updated and hence needs to be redeployed and started. This will stop the existing server process and use the updated executable to start the new process. For server status restart, all the fields are disabled. If new is selected, the optional delete the server class checkbox is enabled. If delete the server class checkbox is selected and server already exists on the non-stop system, NSDEE tries to stop and delete the server before starting the server. The server attributes group configures the server parameters. You can either configure the parameters from the add command button or by using a Guardian script file. The add commands dialog has a limited set of server attributes, and pathway attributes are not supported. However, as a workaround, you can add those parameters in a script file and choose the script using the script file option. The script file can only be accessed if it is on a Guardian platform. The alter and like commands are not supported in the script file. You can also transfer a local file to the Guardian location and use it as a script file for configuring parameters. I will be using the add commands option to configure the parameters. Let's move to the arguments tab. The arguments tab is used to pass the values for set server arg list in case of OSS or set server startup in case of Guardian platforms. Now let's have a look at the environment tab. The environment tab is used to pass the values for set server env and set server define. Set server env is disabled for Guardian server type. Let's see how the arguments and environment tabs look when Guardian is selected. Now let's set it back to OSS for our project. If restart is selected here, then all the tabs are disabled. Let's set it back to new for now. Let's select the delete the server class if exists option. Let's provide some arguments here and some environment values here. You can use enter or a line break if there's more than one env or a define. Common tab of CDT is pretty much the same for all launches. Let's run this TSMP server launch configuration now. TSMP server class is configured and started successfully. You can see the output in the console view. You cannot stop a server class from NSDEE, but you can use the restart option in launch. If you wish to stop the server class, you will have to stop it on the remote non-stop system. The path1 process also must be started and stopped manually as needed. Now let's see how we can launch a projectless executable. What this means is that we are directly launching an executable that is not associated with the NSDEE project in the present workspace. Let's create a new launch configuration. Let's name it demo underscore projectless. Do not give a project name, but provide the rest of the details. Let's launch this executable now. The executable has been run, and the output is shown in the console view. With this, we come to the end of this video on project launches. Watch out for more videos on NSDEE. Thank you.